Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the second episode of my Learning Tarot series. And if you haven't watched the first video, go ahead and watch that. It'll give kind of an explanation on how I'm doing this. But we're going to go ahead and start with the Wands suit. So I've separated out of the deck all of the wands. And we're going to go through these. And what I really want you to understand about the wands, or even with all of the suits, it's a journey in each suit. So you start at 1, you go to 10, and then we have the Page, Knight, Queen, and King. Okay, so but a journey helps you understand the tarot more. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind as we go forward. So let's start out with wands, and wands represent the element fire, which is fire signs like Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And so I want you to also keep that in mind, because what does fire and wands represent? It represents passion, creativity, all the things that fire signs are, ambition, energy, initiating things, taking action, things like pursuing goals and with enthusiasm. So that's kind of the backbone of what wands are. So if you know astrology, know your signs, that will help you with tarot. Okay, so if you don't know, maybe do a little research. It's going to help you. But like I said, those things I just mentioned, the passion and the creativity and all of that, really embody wands. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the first card. And this would be the Ace of Wands. And depending on what deck you have, I'm using the Tarot New Vision, but this one is very similar to the Rider-Waite deck, which I don't have anymore. I need to get that deck again. I've got so many decks and that one slipped away from me somehow. But this one is the closest depiction to the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. And so that's why I'm kind of teaching on this one. So what do ones represent? Well, what do you think when you think of the number 1? New things, singularity things. So, and it's also represents a new beginning. Okay, so in this case, it's a new opportunity being presented, kind of out of nowhere. It just comes out of nowhere. There isn't much influence from anybody else because this castle back here kind of represents foundation and people, and somewhere where you would be influenced, but you're out here, and so this thing is maybe it's a new idea for you that just came out of the blue, a new inspiration, something that's like something new that you're excited about to take action on. It's new potential, a new or new growth. So that's what, and then you'll find out as we go along that ones represent that a lot. But the difference here between all the other elements is that these represent action. Wands are action-oriented cards and creative cards and passionate cards. So this is a new passion, a new creativity, a new energy, a new action, okay? Or something that you need to initiate. So that is the 1, okay? So I said this was a journey, and you'll see why as I go through the cards. The next card is, so we have the 1. The next card is the 2 of Wands. And in this, what you'll notice with tarot, the number 2 represents usually a decision that needs to be made, okay? Or something, one side of the story, or 2 sides of a story. So there's 2 things, right? So in this case, you've got a decision to make. So you've got 1 wand here and 1 wand here. And what you notice is he's looking out into the distance and he's got the world in his hands. So what he's trying to do is and listen, make sure you look at the picture. If you get stuck when you're reading for people, always look at the picture because the picture tells the whole story. So tune into that. So he's got the world in his hands, and he's planning, and he's trying to progress to a new thing, which here's the new opportunity. Now he needs to decide if that's the road he's going to go down. And you notice, like, he's holding this new wand. There's that other wand where he's been, and this could be where he's going. So it's up to him to make that decision to go down that path and discover what may be out there. And it may just be a discovery of you want to stay with the old and not go with the new, okay? But it's usually, in tarot, it represents a decision that needs to be made. Okay, the next card, along our journey, the Three of Wands. So here, we notice he's got the 3 wands, 1, 2, 3, and he's on a new journey. He picked the path he wanted to go down, and now he's on that path. And if you notice, you know, there's all these people following him because so they are confident in this guy's decision. So this is about taking that opportunity and going with it, expanding your horizons, you know, having the foresight to see that this was a good opportunity. And a lot of times it means travel as well. Okay, so this is embarking on that new journey. And so, like, you know, if you're doing a reading, this could mean someone's traveling, someone's maybe just accepted a new job offer or something of that sort where they're on a new path. And maybe not a job, it could mean anything. But it's some sort of action, because wands are action. It's a new thing that you're taking advantage of, okay? And then we're at the 4 of Wands. This is where it's like, okay, you've made the decision, you went on the journey, now you're kind of taking a break, and there's a celebration happening. So this card is the card of celebration, or possibly marriages or engagements. It's very joyful and relaxed. The card speaks for itself, really. And so you notice all of the posts are in the ground. So there's a little bit of stability, but not enough to get too comfortable because there's no foundation. But you're at a point in your journey where you can kind of relax and let loose. So in a reading, that could mean, you know, someone just got married. There's not a solid foundation in a new marriage. It's just beginning. Or you're celebrating something that's brand new, which he's on this journey and he just took the leap. So it's not a lot of solid footing, but it's still a time to relax and enjoy the company of others, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and go to the 5. Now, I want you to remember, in tarot, the 5s in every suit that we do are usually some sort of conflict. And in this case, it's the same. And it's conflict, it's competition, their tension is rising. You know, really in the Wands, this is not as serious as in the other suits. Because this is more of like competition and kind of friendly competition. No one's getting hurt yet. It's kind of playful competition. So nothing serious quite yet, okay? So, I mean, there could be, something could go wrong because there's wands flying, but it doesn't mean everything will go wrong. It's just a little bit of competition happening. So just when you were getting comfortable here, you're like, okay, well, now I've got to, you know, stand up for myself. All right, and like just tension and competition, really. Okay, and then we're on, after our conflict, it looks like we have victory. So the fight's over. So this 6 is about success, victory, self-confidence. Like, he's got his head held high. Everyone's kind of given him, everybody that was fighting with him has kind of given him like the accolades now, like, good job, you know. So it's about getting through things and having a little bit of victory. And then we have the 7. 7's, you know, he just came out of victory and now he's realizing, maybe kind of waking up going, well, I still have a challenge ahead of me. Maybe I didn't take this one too seriously because this was more lighthearted, or sorry, this one was more lighthearted, and I claimed victory too soon, which is a little immature, right? And so a lesson to be learned, because look at there, I still have more battles to fight. So it's about like persevering and maybe protecting yourself a little bit more this time, because if you see there's people are like, now the people are fighting back. But the thing is he's on higher ground here. And so he does have the upper hand, but he's kind of having to defend himself a little bit. But it's about like protecting yourself and maybe not being so vulnerable to think that you're always going to have victories. That maybe you didn't think things through completely because maybe these people turn their back on you all of a sudden. Okay, so it's a little bit of learning a lesson there. Okay, and then we have the 8, and this is where things really start flying in, like all of those wands people were carrying. Now you're under attack, and now this card doesn't actually mean think you are under attack because you've got the angel here. You're gonna be okay. It's just that things are moving so fast that maybe you don't understand what's happening, and so there's a lot of fast movement. There's charging action. And it could be you charging forward too. It's also, if you notice, these are all in alignment. And so it's like it's this big idea that's moving fast, okay? And it's moving together. So it's a lot of strong force coming your way. So in a reading, you would take this as fast moving decisions or changes and actions in someone's life. That's how I would read it, okay? But it's not anything, like I said, to be too afraid of because you've got the angel here as well. And then we move on to the 9. This is where, like, the wands have landed and they're all around you now. Okay, they've landed, they're all around you. And this is kind of a test of faith, like asking yourself, like, how did I get here? You need to have courage and resilience now. This is the time to set your boundaries because maybe you haven't done that in the past and you're kind of living willy-nilly. Now it's like, well, maybe I do need to protect myself a little bit more, maybe make better decisions so I don't have to go through that anymore. That's why I say this is a journey, because it is. It's life lessons. And every suit is like that, okay? It's about maturing through things. And through situations. And so hopefully that will help you in your readings. And then we have the 10. And you notice now he has gathered all of these wands and he's now picked them up himself. And so it can feel a little burdensome, like everything that you've just been through, all the things you've just been through, now you're carrying those burdens, and that's, you're like your baggage, when you go through situations and you carry that with you. And this could also mean like having extra responsibilities and feeling dragged down by those, feeling burdened by, all the extra responsibility and it's hard work also. If you notice, like everybody in this picture is working hard. So it's just like, you're not alone in your burdens. And, there's someone there by your side. They understand your struggle. And it's about just moving forward and you're almost there because you're not going to carry the burden forever. So whatever situation you were in with all of this, whatever situation that was, it's going to end because 10s are always endings. And then guess what? Once you're done with that, we all have these situations in life. So once you're done with that, you have to know that it always goes back to a 1 eventually. So you'll have another new thing happening. So that's going to happen continuously through life. And so that's 1 through 10. Now we can move on to the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. And I always see these as actual people in the readings. So sometimes I will say, if it's a wands, and if it's a page or a knight or a queen or king, I always say, oh, that's probably a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising. And because they usually do represent people. And if you think about the maturity level, what this guy just went through, the maturity and the growing still continues to happen because you start out as a page, and a page is usually a younger, inexperienced person, possibly fire sign, that doesn't, doesn't know everything. So he's a little bit naive, kind of more of a free spirit. It's kind of maybe a younger fire sign, okay? And full of ideas, and pages usually are messengers. So it, they hold, they're the bearer of messages. So it could be that a fire sign is trying to send you a message or contact you, or someone with that, those traits of a fire sign, like that, with passion and ambition and energy. So it could just be that energy that is trying to come give you a message. Okay, so that's the page. And then you have the knight, and the knight's a little bit more mature, but knights are full of energy, and in every suit they're usually really fast movers, unless you're the cups, but we'll go over that later. But knights and the wands are usually very energetic, very passionate, full of fire, full of adventure. They're very impulsive. So, if it's like someone trying to date you and they're moving fast and they're coming in hot, usually, okay? Knights usually come in hot, unless, like I said, unless it's a cups. But, yeah, it's usually someone coming after you. Knights are action-oriented in most all of the decks, okay? And then you have the Queen of Wands. And, again, this could be an older, more mature woman fire sign, or it could be someone who holds that energy of a fire sign. And so the Queen is of Wands is courageous. She's confident. She's usually a social bug, and she's very determined. Okay, so how you would think of as a woman fire, older, stable woman fire sign is usually what the Queen of Cups represents. The King of Cups, he is a natural leader. He's kind of full of warmth, but he could also be pretty feisty. But he's full of knowledge, vision. He's usually an entrepreneur, full of honor, very proud of himself. He usually has a big ego. Okay. Okay, so that is the wands, pretty much in a nutshell. So I hope that makes sense how this is a journey. Because this is a lot of cards we just went through, but if you can remember the journey and remember the pictures, when you're doing the readings, it's going to make a lot more sense for you. Instead of just learning the one card and going, oh, what was that again? If you can remember, like, what the journey is. So study it like that. Put your cards in a row, 1, 2, 3, 1 through 10, and then your, your page and knight and queen and king. And kind of study it that way, and I guarantee you it's going to help you. Okay, thanks for joining me. So if you want to continue on the journey, I'm going to do cups next. So join me for the next episode. Have a great evening.